What's going on, everybody? Marky P back here with another review. Today, we're going to be reviewing Scott Derrickson's Black Phone Part 2. Scott Derrickson, he obviously previously directed Part 1, which is great because, you always like to have the same continuity coming back for the Part 2. Scott Derrickson, he's the director that brought us Sinister, which was a great movie of the year. It came out. He also got us Deliver Us from Evil. He did the Excellent Emily Rose. And he did Marvel's Doctor Strange. So just he's a very, very good director. Knows what he's doing. Made some great movies. We got Mason Thames coming back as Finney from the previous movie, and we also got Madeleine McGraw coming back from the previous movie as well as Gwen as his little sister. The dad, Jeremy Davies, he's coming back as well as their father. As well, we got some new characters. Armando, the guy from The Nun. I know he was The Nun. He's been in a few other things. He was the dad in Lowriders. So we got a great cast here. We got a good cast, and so starting off, well, let's only get into the review. So the movie starts off with the woman answering the phone in Colorado. You see the mountains. It looks beautiful. The beautiful scene. And she answers the phone, and she's talking to someone on the other line, and she's saying she got the number from the number in her dreams. It was carved in her in the ice in her dreams, but you can't hear what the other people are saying under the side. All of a sudden it starts getting tense, and she cuts the phone call off, and she takes off out of the phone booth. And mind you, it's in the middle of nowhere, like in the mountains. I guess they're at a camp, and it's set in 1957. So she hangs up, she walks out of the booth. Then we get the title card, Black Phone Part 2. So then we get the next scene is Finney beating up some guy, beating up some new kid, because apparently from Part 1, Finney was the one that was getting beat up, and then with all the stuff that happened to him from the previous movie, I guess he just has a lot of anger built up, a lot of issues, a lot of trauma. But they don't beat you over the head with the trauma like they've been doing in these past few movies, man, which I really appreciate, because some of them just like, okay, yes, they have trauma, blah, blah, blah. Like that's been the ongoing thing with movies nowadays. But this one, it's a little toned down. It's there, but it's not so in your face. And then you got Gwen picking him up off the guy. Gwen comes up. She has short hair. Obviously, they're 4 years older now because it's 4 years in the future from Part 1. So they're in high school now, and you were introduced to Ernesto, who's asking Gwen out to a Duran Duran concert. I mean, the 80s, man, you gotta love it. And she agrees, and Finney looks at her and says, "Hey, he's asking her on a date, right?" She's like, "No, he's not." He's like, "Definitely a date." I just don't like him. Ernesto is actually the younger brother of Robin, who was Finney's best friend in Part 1, which he ultimately he dies in the first one. But oddly enough, it's the same character. Ernesto is playing the younger brother. I mean, the guy that plays Robin is the one playing Ernesto. It's the same character. Which I think is interesting, which is pretty cool. So then they start. Madeleine starts having these dreams. Madeline starts seeing the dreams, and she starts. Oh man, this movie is so good. I'm sorry. Madeline starts having dreams, and she starts sleepwalking. Well, the first time Finney catches her at the door and brings her back to bed. And when he puts her back to bed, then Finney has started smoking marijuana, which is, I guess that's his way of coping with everything that goes on. He can still hear voices. There's a scene where he's coming out of a store, and their phone rings, and obviously it says out of service, and his people is still asking for his help, and he says, "Sorry, can't help you." That's just his way of trying to get past everything, which is understandable. But he's grown to keep smoking. That's what he does. So then they go to sleep, and Madeline, not Madeline, well, her name is Madeline in real life, but Gwen keeps on having these dreams, and she keeps sleepwalking. Well, the second time, she actually is she goes all the way to where Finney was captured. She goes all the way to the grabber's old house where Finney was freaking uh where he was being held captive. And then nowadays it's all marked up. And I like the dream, like the camera shot, the way it's shot. It's like in Sinister. Remember when it was showing the movie on TV, like shot? That's how her dream sequences sound. So it gives you the difference between what's real life and what's a dream, which I think is great. I like the way it's shot. Like me personally, it gives it that grindhouse kind of edgy look to it, which really good. I really enjoy it. And well, when she wakes up, when she in her dream, when she's down there, I believe his name is Max, the grabber's brother. She sees the grabber's brother with the axe still in his head, and right here you think and then it goes to the door, and you think it's the grabber coming down the stairs going to make his entrance, and actually it's Finney, because she wakes up. Finney wakes her up and tells her, "Hey, I followed you here. What are you doing? Let's go home." The part I didn't like about the scene is Finney. Like, you would think Finney would have some kind of like traumatic, like, I don't know, emotions, and he just kind of like, whatever, this is where I was, and like he just like, come on, let's go. Instead of like him personally, I mean, I feel like most people would be really in their feelings about it, really hurt, like, what are you doing here? Like, they would being flashbacks and stuff. So so they head back. So then and he keeps cutting to Gwen keeps having the visions of there's 3 boys being killed at this camp that she would let her mom was at. So it turns out, well, when she went into the I missed the part when she went into the basement where Finney was captive. The black phone was there. She answered it, and actually she was the person from the very opening scene that she was talking to was her mother. That's who she was talking to the whole time. And so it makes them, and she's so her mom was telling her where she's at. She's at this, this camp. They get to well, then she wakes up, and so she says, "Hey, I got to go to this camp. They're looking for counselors in training." And they end up going. They go to the camp and everything. And Armando, which is a new character that they introduce, Ernesto is going with Gwen. They try to tell Finney to go, and he doesn't want to. And there's a scene. It's a funny scene because Ernesto and Gwen are getting ready to go, and their dad is sitting there. He's like, "Yeah, I don't really know about this guy, about her going." And Finney, he's like, "Yeah, me neither." And he was like, "Fine, y'all hold up, let him so he can go." So he goes pack up his bag so he can take care of his sister. And so they hit to the camp, and it's a really bad snowstorm. But, there's people rolled over on the side of the road. Somehow, I guess I forgot what they do. Oh, Vinny gets out and he starts falling. They end up getting to the camp, where a girl named Mustang comes and gets them into to come into the camp. Where they meet Armando, and Armando automatically knows something's up. So they had to sleep in different cabins because it's a Catholic Christian camp, and so they're not allowed to, guys and girls to be in the same room. And I thought this was a pretty gruesome scene. Like, Gwen is asleep in her bunk, and she starts having this dream about the kid. There's 3 kids that were there that are missing, that were never found, and their souls can't rest. So they they come to her in her sleep. It's a pretty scary scene. One comes out from under the bed, and one comes from the window. And it's just a great scene. And then so Finney's going to save her. There's a phone that rings. He answers it, and it's the grabber. And so Finney and the grabber are having this emotional, intense conversation. And the grabber, when I say, hey, Ethan Hawke looks great in this movie. Like the mask, the makeup, I think it looks amazing. The way everything's good. He's very scary. I think he's pretty scary in the movie. I love his wardrobe. Everything, his costumes design is great, and just the him and just the whole the dialect between him and Finney and the grabber is just it's just intense. Well, they hang up the phone. You know, Gwen comes to sleep with Ernesto, and they're like talk about how much they like each other asleep. And it's funny because Finney was like, "I can hear everything y'all are saying." So the next morning they're having breakfast, and Armando kind of knows what's up, and he's like, "So what are y'all doing here?" And they explain to him, at first they tried to say something, but he was like, "No, what are y'all doing here? Because y'all have never been here. Y'all don't have no ties to this. Y'all not even Catholic." So they end up revealing who their mother is, and Armando, kind of tells him, "Yes, I know who your mother is." Because they give each other like code names. They get us like camp names. They have their own names, and her name was Starlight, I believe, or Spotlight, something of that nature. And it just shows. So then the next thing, they go back to sleep. And the scene I think is the craziest, which I loved it and I liked it. So the scene where Gwen wakes up and she's asleep and she's sleepwalking. She's going to she goes to the cat, like she's walking and she's sleepwalking, and the grabber comes to get her. And it's a nod to Nightmare on Elm Street. Tina, I think it's a nod to Tina's scene, her death scene, where he's swinging her all around the room, but you can't see her because you can the grabber he's obviously dead. It's in her dream. But then like everybody comes and they see all this and they see everything and they see her, and the grabber's trying to throw her into the fire, but everybody's able to get her, and then she wakes up. Um, I like I love the nod to Nightmare on Elm Street, but I don't necessarily like the scene, if that makes sense. Actually, it just I don't know. I don't really know how to explain it. It's just not. It's good. I'm not saying it wasn't good because I really enjoyed it because I love Nightmare on Elm Street. Freddy's one of my favorites of all time. Um, but the scene it just seemed like he could kick her ass. He was hurting her really bad, but then she was fine. Like she was fine the next day. It's like nothing. Like yeah, she was getting cut and she was bleeding, but it never hurt her. Like she was never hurt or anything. So uh, so what it is? Then they find out. They go to the church, and Armando, he's just like that's some. I've never seen no stuff like that. And there's a couple there. I forgot Barbara and I forgot her husband. They're really uptight people, and Gwen and Barbara don't get along. They talk trash to each other the whole time. Um, yeah, I know I forgot to mention the couple, but anyway, they don't get along, and she keeps saying that Gwen's possessed and this that, and there. She's not possessed. Well, Finney finds a picture with his mom in it, and also a picture with his mom, and he found a picture with the grabber, and they called him Wild Bill. I guess that was his camp name. And apparently he's the one. He was like he killed 3 kids, but they never found the bodies. Well, in her dream, like there's few dream sequences that Gwen has that the grabber killing the kids, and it's pretty gory, gruesome scenes. I mean, ever since Terrifier 3, apparently you just kill kids and it's not taboo no more. Uh, so yeah, you get these kids getting cut up, burned, like sliced open, like it's very gruesome. Um, Turns out that they're in the lake. Their lake is frozen over. Like that's where they go ice skating. Apparently, there's a whole backstory to the grabber. He was a great ice skater, and they're out there. They find one of the kids. They find all 3. Um, Here's a part I don't like of the movie. It's in the end. They're trying to find the dead kids, and Gwen falls. Now they're on this tractor. Gwen falls asleep. Uh, and Gwen's getting her ass kicked. Gwen, like he's fucking choking her. Like the grabber's choking her in a phone booth in the middle of the thing. And all of a sudden she turns into 11 from Stranger Things, and she has powers, and she's like, "This is my dream. and I have powers too, and it's all kind of like it's big, and here's part from here on out, the part of the movie I really didn't like it. Like, so I understand they're trying to do a nod to Nightmare on Elm Street, but Nightmare on Elm Street there was rules. Like, he could only kill you in your sleep, like, and you could only see the only person to see him is the one dreaming. So they're here, they're finding the bodies, and they're fighting the grabber. The grabber's just pretty much skating all over there, fucking hitting them with things. But the thing is, they can fight him. They can fight. You're pretty much fighting an invisible man. Like, where does the rules? Where are the rules? Like, usually you can only be killed in your sleep, but now he can kill you, freaking kill you while you're awake too. Like, this, that don't make sense. And then I feel the kids that were dead down the road. It's like a kind of like a nod to Five Nights at Freddy's, because remember in Five Nights at Freddy's, the kids were inside the robot, the animatronics or whatever. They were inside the freaking things, and they were able, like, once they came up out of the water, they were able to help kill the grabber. And then, oh my god, the grabber, the way his death scene is, Gwen is fighting him. All of a sudden, Finney comes over, and he's able to somehow figure out the grabber's body, and freaking he starts like, grabs his face, like an like, mind you, like, she Gwen is asleep and she's dreaming she's fighting she's fighting the grabber, but somehow everybody can see him. He's able to kill everybody that's awake, and somehow Finney grabs his face and starts hitting it in the ice on the lake, and it's just like, come on, man, like, he's like, obviously there's no rules. It's full on supernatural. It's big. I didn't really like this. Um, then they go on. They kill the grabber. They go on. They talk to their mom. I don't know, man. It was just too big. I didn't like the last scene. The fight scene it was big. There was no rules. Anything could have happened. Like, if that was the case, he could have killed all of them a long time ago, and this movie would have been over in like first, like, 45 minutes. And so, man, I get it. You got to drag it on for the movie, but I just went. And there's other parts, like Armando was drowning. Like, he's trying to get one of the kids out from the water. The grabber throws him in, and somehow, in real life, that man would have been frozen and drowned in the frozen, freezing cold water. Somehow they're able to get him out, and he's still alive. And it's like, come on, man, make this. That's not realistic. The relationship with the kids and the dad, though, Finney and Gwen and their dad, which I like, as a dad stopped drinking, and there's a very, very emotional scene with Finney, because Finney starts smoking and stuff, and she calls him out. Gwen calls him out on it. She's like, you and dad are the same. Dad was drinking, you're smoking. What's the difference? Y'all both coping the same way with illegal. Well, obviously drink's not illegal, but to be drunk. So it's like, I just it was that was a good scene. That was a good emotional scene. I liked it. But overall, like, the ending, like, there's no rules. There was nothing left. Like, the part one was so good because it was simple. That's what I liked about part one. It was simple, and the supernatural element was there, but it wasn't the center point of the movie. This one, the supernatural part is the whole movie, but there's no rules. Like I said, there's no rules, and anything can happen. And this part, I kind of just, it took the movie down. It's a big step down from part one. Part one, I think it was a masterpiece. And it didn't merit a part two. Am I glad it's here? Yeah, I'm glad it's here, because I love horror movies. It gives me something to talk about. But at the same time, it didn't merit there to be a part two. So, but that's all I got. I'm gonna rate this movie a 6 out of 10. I liked it. I still enjoyed it. It was still good. Like I said, good gore, good effects, good everything. I just didn't like the ending. I didn't like I like the supernatural part. I just didn't like the way they executed the supernatural part. But other than that, guys, that's all I got. That's all I got for y'all today. Until next time, this is Marky P, over and out.